Yeah.
Ooh, what up? How's it
Hello,
going?
people.
For the first time ever, we exist in the real world. We are no longer audio only beings. We are real people.
Real people as real as your phone is.
Or your computer or your TV, because this will hopefully be posted on youtube.com so you can actually view it wherever you want.
Watch us in 4K.
Yeah. But yeah, so today where are we? We're doing, what is this? This
Where
is
are we?
Commander
What are we
Paradise.
doing? We've
Um
landed. We've touched down. We might have
we've
had
landed.
a few too many Bud Lights on the plane.
Yeah, back. We drank the woke beer. We have turned woke in paradise, and we are ready to talk about some Magic cards. The new Lord of the Rings set just came out, or is coming out soon. As we're recording this, it comes out this weekend, so this Saturday. But by the time this comes out, it'll be out.
Yeah.
Hopefully, someone cool got the One Ring, not just annoying people.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
My big dream is that hopefully just either like a kid or someone who has no idea what it is cracks it and it lives in a shoebox for like the next 20 years.
Yeah, and then it's
Yeah.
found later, like 30 years from now, but who knows?
Yeah. If you're
Hopefully
a
it's not
big
just Stars of the
distributor
Games or
and you
something.
yeah, if you're a big distributor and you crack it, I guess congrats to you, but I mean,
Yeah,
what's the
boring.
what's the fun when you are buying like 30% of the chance instead of like 0.0006 or whatever?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, it's super cool. I think it's fun that they did that. I think all the variants are a lot of fun. The fucking like lore and stuff for it is solid. I think this is one of the best sets we've had recently. Maybe since like Kamigawa.
Probably. I think it's the most slam dunk of a set, you know. The flavor's perfect, I think. People are complaining about the One Ring mechanic. I don't know. It's a mechanic. It's fine. I don't care. It's
That's
cool. It's
yeah.
like it's some the ring tempts you is I don't know, whatever, it's fine. I don't care about like there's no downside. Some people have been complaining about that, which is fine. I get if you aren't happy with it, but personally I don't care.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of design things that could have done that mechanic differently, but also at the same time, there's no sense like belly aching at this point because it's already made. Um, if
Ryan, you're
people,
breaking up a little bit.
oh, am I? Well, you can suck my butt. It might be your internet or something.
Sweet.
Can you
Okay, yeah,
still?
I think it was on my end actually. Sorry about
Oh,
that.
no, you're fine, dude. Um, yeah, if it starts up again, just let me know.
Yeah, no, I think it's because these are starting to fade and like fray a little bit, but okay. Say something again.
Checky, checky, 1, 2.
Okay,
Goblin,
sweet.
Goblin Bowmasters, ruining modern.
Orcish Bowmaster.
Orchestra Master, whatever its name is. Um,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, we're gonna
Do you want
ultra
to just start
hand.
over?
I was gonna say we're gonna ultra hand the train and just put it back on the rails.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're good. I think the starting was good. We could just cut all the way up to here because
Yeah,
we're
okay,
just
sorry. We had some technical difficulties, but we figured it out. We're
yeah.
trying this new recording software. So we'll see how it goes.
The cost of
So
beauty is high.
it is. And yeah.
But the like one ring mechanic is like my is totally fine. It do what it do. If you don't want to play with it, I probably won't put it in games. It's
Yeah, I
kind of
don't
like
think
the
it's really
initiative.
good.
I don't really want to deal with it, so I don't play it. So, but I was gonna say the other side of it is there's some really there's some really good cards that
Yeah.
have tacked on the ring tempts you at the end of it too.
And then it's just a bonus. One of my cards
Yeah.
I'm going to bring up has that. It's just where it's just on there and it's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, yeah. And at that point, it just like what it gives your legend. It makes a creature legendary or something like that. It doesn't even like
Yeah, I got it
you don't
pulled
even
up
have to really
in
worry about it.
Scryfall. I don't know if you can zoom in on this, Ryan, in the recording software. But
Oh, it's
so
pretty large
it's
right now. So
nice. So I don't know if it goes in order or if you can choose. Okay, gains its
No,
next ability.
yeah, it
Okay, so it goes in
linear.
order. Okay. So your ring bearer is legendary and can't be blocked by creatures with greater power, which is interesting because there's like a green white Frodo, and it says it must be blocked if able. So I think that means it always, if you make it your ring bearer, it can kill whatever blocks it because it's a 1/3. If it can't be blocked by greater power, you'll always kill whatever it's blocked, whatever it
Oh, yeah.
blocks, or whatever blocks it, which is cool.
Yeah. And then you could give them
Seems decent.
the stainer, and it gives them +1/+1.
Yeah. Then,
Yeah,
then
it's
whenever
fine.
it attacks, draw a card, then a discard card. Whenever it becomes blocked by a creature, that creature sacrifices it at the end of combat. And whenever it deals damage to a player, each opponent loses 3 life. Dece. I don't know. Seems fine. Not that crazy.
Yeah, I think that's the thing is it's just like totally mid.
Yeah, and you only ever have one. And you can choose a different ring bearer each time. Whenever it tempts you, you can choose a different one.
Yeah, so you could like give all of them the first one and then do the second one a bunch of times.
Yeah. I don't know. Seems mid, which is fine. I like that.
Yeah.
I don't want some crazy, busted, annoying mechanic, you know? If it's just like fun and limited and then like a random card will play it every once in a while, it's fine.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like, oh, well, you can't really block this one dude anymore.
Yeah.
Whatever. So that's kind of mid, but I think the rest of the set is just sick. The art is amazing. A lot of the references are just like so perfect. Really happy they didn't go with like the photo realism and put Elijah Wood like smack dab on a magic card. I like that we got some like different
They're goofy little hobbits.
goofy little hobbits, yeah. And just different character design. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for this episode we were kind of just going to go through kind of our favorite card by color, our probably like our favorite commander that we might build from the set, and then we each might have like a couple standouts or something like that. But yeah, just kind of just a little overview because I think the whole set's been spoiled. Like Tyler was saying, it's going to come out for us in like 4 or 5 days.
Couple days, yeah.
Yeah, but it'll have been out for like a month or so by the time this comes out. But yeah, I'm excited about it. I think it's fun. Going through all the cards was really cool. There's a lot of really cool stuff in the commander decks that came out.
Yeah, the commander decks are sweet. They got cool like art.
Yeah.
Like the Gilded Goose. The Gilded Goose art is amazing.
Yeah. The Tireless Provisioner one, is that it too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tireless Provisioner.
Yeah.
Let me pull him up.
It's nice being able to search
Look at this goose.
Yes.
He's
that art's really good. Yeah. Makes me want to make my Rakdos sack deck a Jund deck just so I could have like 4 copies of that in it. Might have to, well, maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun that they did new art for some of the cards too. But do we just want to hop into white then?
Yeah, let's just talk about white, which is kind of impossible in this set because like every white card is like cracked as fuck in this set. It's crazy.
Yeah. When I was looking through them, I was like, this is insane. It's got easily like the best removal package, even in like the limited format. You know, if you were just to draft, I think white's got like all of the best removal from this set. And so much token stuff. Very cool.
Yeah, but the food's crazy.
Yeah. I like how everything
interesting.
has a food tagged onto it strictly just to make Bilbo like viable.
Yeah.
Because you have to have a way to get 111 life.
111 life, yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually a commander-only card. I thought it
is
was... Yeah, it was
Okay.
previewed as like a normal card. And then I think it's only in the commander deck.
Okay, sick. That makes a little more sense then. I was like, does everything have food because they put Bilbo in the set? And like, I don't know how else we would get there.
I think it's just the hobbits just make food, which makes sense.
Yeah, still makes total sense.
I got a card. It's the craziest card, I think, in this set. For me personally, I think this is... People aren't talking enough about this card. It's Gandalf, White Rider. It's a 3 and a white for a legendary avatar wizard with vigilance. It's a 3/3. And then whenever you cast a spell, creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. Scry 1. And then whenever it dies, you may put it into its owner's library 5th from the top. So I feel like it just kind of goes in like any white deck, because like most white decks are like creature decks. So as long as you're a creature deck, you can play this, because whenever you cast a spell. So whenever you play Magic the Gathering, your creatures get bigger, and then you get card selection, which is just... that just sounds crazy, right?
Yeah.
Because like, let's say you cast 2 spells and you have 3 creatures out. Now you just added 6 power to your board.
Yeah.
By casting 2 spells, and then you get to scry 1 twice.
Yeah.
Just by playing the game, and then it never goes away. It's just because it goes 5 deep, and then if you're building your deck right, you just draw it again.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's just scry on every single spell is insane. Like, anytime you would cast a spell, you just get to look at the top card of your library and decide if you want that or not. Like, scry by itself sometimes might not be, like, super effective. Like, I feel like some people don't lean on it as hard, but when you're scrying that much, you're just like churning through your deck. You know what I mean? You're basically almost, it's like the deck version of milling. You're just putting stuff that you don't want on the bottom or stuff that you know you don't need, and you're going to get to stuff so much faster. And then it just doesn't go away. It's 5 from the top. Like, you have to You have to exile it.
Yeah, because when it dies, you
And he buffs himself, and he has vigilance, so you can just swing all the time.
Like, any token deck this is good in, but it's also really good in, like, the new Pia.
Mm-hmm. The Thopter deck.
The Thopter deck. Yeah, because, so, whenever you play or land from exile or cast a spell from exile, you create a 1/1 Thopter with flying, and then all your Thopters have haste. And so you cast a spell... you make a Thopter, you cast a spell from exile, you make a Thopter, and that Thopter gets +1/+0. And then you can scry 1, so then you can look at the top card of your library again and make sure it's something you can cast when you exile it again. When you exile. So you're like, that seems crazy. And then you cast 2 spells, and then you have, from exile, and then you have 2 3/1 Thopters with haste. So you're just going to start punching dudes,
just smack him face,
even more than you were already going to.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Yeah,
and then in like Falco, you cast the spell from the top of your library, and then you can scry 1, and then you can get lands away, and then because that's the big sticking point with Falco, is that lands get stuck on the top of your library, and then you can't do it anymore. So you need...
I'm gonna vomit.
Yeah, so now you're just moving those lands out of the way so you can keep churning spells, and then Falco just gets bigger and bigger, and he has flying and trample. So you play Gandalf, and then you cast something from the top of your library, and now Falco is a 4/3. And then you cast just another spell, and now he's a 5/3 trample. And he just gets bigger every turn.
Yeah, he just keeps getting bigger, and you can just keep going off the top of your library at that point.
Yeah, it's just so... I just feel like it's so crazy. And that's just with synergy. Like, it's really, really good with synergy. But I just feel like any white deck with creatures, you could just cast this, and it's fine. Because it's like in Winota, if you're in a Winota deck, it's not a human, so it can attack with vigilance, so then it can block, and then it triggers Winota, and then you can get a human. But then also you scry, so you can look at the top and see what you're going to find. Or... like my God Eternal Loketra deck, you're just casting spells and it makes all my zombies bigger. Like, there's like 5 decks where it just should automatically, it's an auto include. And then, like, it's just crazy.
Yeah. It's really
Craziest card in the set for
crazy.
me. I think it's super good.
Yeah. I just can't get over the scry one to me is just so crazy. That's like so
Mm-hmm.
much selection, and if you just build a Boros like cantrippy exile type deck,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think
Yep.
my mic picked that up, but machine gun sound, you know.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it just goes in like literally every white deck, and it will just be good.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
But
it's
what's your
crazy.
white card?
My white card that I had was I think it's the Gaffer.
Oh yeah, that card's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's super sick. One, I love that art. He's
Yeah.
got such a goofy face. Um, but then I just for white like super reoccurring card draw at the beginning of each end step. If you gain 3 or more life this turn, draw a card. And if you're a dedicated life gain deck, that's super easy. You know, like you could just
Also,
gain.
if you sacrifice a food, because foods gain you life, so you
That's
eat a
true
food and then you
too.
draw a card.
Duh. Oh my, I didn't even think about that. But that's super, yeah, like just super good. And the fact that it occurs at every end step, I think is awesome. Um, and I just like that vegetable that he's holding.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And on the growing of vegetables, especially potatoes, Master Hamfast Ganji was recognized as the leading authority by all in the neighborhood. So I think that's Sam's like dad.
Oh, hell yeah. Hamfast is a good name.
Yeah, right. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And I like his little wicker like straw hat.
Yeah, he's a good farmer. Can we just like stop saying that white can't draw cards anymore? Because
Yeah.
every set there's just like you do something white does, and then you draw a card at your end step, and like drawing like an extra card a turn is like fine. Like
It's
that's
really
what you
good.
want. That's
Yeah.
really like all you really need, is to draw because you're. I mean, yeah, drawing a lot of cards is really powerful, but like just white has all these synergy cards that just like whatever your deck does, there's a white card that will draw you cards for it. Like that Dusk Legion vampire that's like whenever a counter is put on it, you draw a card. This, whenever you gain life, you draw a card. Welcoming Vampire, whenever a little dude enters the battlefield, you draw a card. It
Yeah.
happens once a turn.
Welcoming Vampire is
There's
really
that
good.
crazy enchantment from this set, Dawn of a New Age. When it enters the battlefield with a hope counter on it for each creature you control. And then at the beginning of your end step, remove a hope counter from it and draw a card. Then if it has no hope counters on it, sacrifice it and you gain 3 life. Or
That's
gain
sick.
4 life.
Yeah.
So if you just need like 3 creatures, and this is amazing. Because like, which you're going to do because you're in a white deck. Because it's 2 mana, draw 3, and you draw at the end step, so you don't even have to wait. Like you're immediately going to, it's 2 mana, draw a card,
Yeah. I think a
which
lot
is
of the
great.
draw stuff from this set that I was looking at, a lot of it is end step based too, which is awesome because
Which is really good.
yeah, if it even if it gets removed during someone's next turn, you at least get to use it once. Um, so yeah, I would definitely say, well, white can draw cards now. Uh,
And it can ramp.
yeah, we've talked
It
about
does.
this. I mean, we have a mono
Yeah.
white episode. If you haven't heard that one, go check that one out. We talk about some fun cards, including Magic's first gun. Um,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I still think about her nightly.
Yeah,
Um,
the
what was
Karen
it?
with the gun.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, this was my mono white pick. Just because
It's
I
a good
really
one.
like
It's
the
cool.
art and I think it's
Yeah,
good card draw. It's solid. So
absolutely. Oh, what's your blue card?
let me check real fast. I had Born Upon a Wind.
Okay, yeah, this card's interesting.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Strictly just because I think like it by itself obviously isn't too flashy. In case you're not watching, Born Upon a Wind is 1 in a blue instant. You may cast spells this turn as though they had flash, and then it has draw a card on there. So for 2 mana, drawing a card that's already like fine. But it being able to like cast something as though they had flash is really awesome. Like if you're in a Demir deck, I was gonna say, correct me if I'm wrong, but Toxic Deluge is
A
sorcery, right?
sorcery.
Yeah, so you
Yeah.
could just cast this going into your next turn. Um, you could even cast reanimate going into your next turn, you know what I mean? So the
Yeah.
next thing wouldn't have summoning sickness. Um, I was thinking there's a ton of like blue like what is it, asymmetric board bouncing stuff, but a lot of that
Yeah.
is at sorcery speed as well. So this
Hmm.
could give you like
Like
2 extra
whelming
mana,
wave.
draw a card, and play your spectral deluge or something like that. Um, it's
Yeah, that's a
it's
sorcery.
yeah, yep,
Spectral Deluge is a sorcery. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So
But
it
also
just kind
just
of
like anything, like you could flash in something that's like at your upkeep you draw a card. So like a Fire Exing Arena, which is like a 5 mana for Exing Arena, which isn't that great. But you can just because there's a lot of stuff that's like at your upkeep, this happens, and then you cast it, and then you have to wait a turn. So this will let you get that out early, which is a little. It's still slow, but it's something, you know.
yeah. But in that turn, doing that, you would draw a card off this, draw your card for turn, and then draw off the
Hmm.
Phyrexian Arena. So like 3 extra
Yeah,
cards going into your next turn on turn 5. You know, turn
yeah.
4 or 5
Hmm.
wouldn't be too bad at all. So I think that's the thing is like this has, and you could even flash like creatures in too if you wanted to. Um, so even if it's like turn 3, flash in your Llanowar Elf so you can just use it next turn and not,
As haste.
yeah, and just draw a card. So it's not like super insane. It's not like you playing it is going to change the game, but if you build your deck and you are piloting it well and stuff, and you have this card in your hand, I think you could do some really fun stuff with it.
Yeah. It
Which,
also could be like you're in like a draw go, kind of like a control deck kind of thing, and so you're holding up mana, and you don't need to counter anything, you don't need to remove anything, so you flash this, and then you cast a mana rock, and so now you have extra mana on your next turn, and then you can hold up more mana, so you don't have to play the mana rock on your turn. You're playing it on someone else's turn, so now you have more mana to interact.
yeah, yeah, it lets you kind of just keep your game plan going. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's cool. So that
Yeah,
was
it's definitely cool. It's definitely, I think it's playable for sure.
Yeah, definitely in the right deck. I have a card we'll talk about probably towards the end of the episode, and I think if you did that with this card in tandem, you would need like a bunch of mana, but I think it would go like insane. It would be really funny. Um, but yeah, what's your blue card? And I'm not gonna lie, blue didn't feel super insane this set. Looking at a lot of it, there's some. It's pretty bog standard blue.
Yeah, blue didn't really get a lot this set, which kind of makes sense. I feel like blue, Lord of the Rings isn't really a bluey kind of vibe.
Yeah, yeah,
Feels much more like grounded and.
everything
But
but
this
blue.
card's crazy. It's from I think it's from
The
the
commander
the
decks, isn't
Jeskai
it?
Commander deck,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, so you can play this for 5 mana, or you can do 7 mana and bounce all creatures
Yep.
with because it's a sorcery with the last card.
Yeah,
The one
and
you
this
said.
card is really sick. This is like without even interacting before we hop into it, I think this should be like a new blue bounce standard for tribal decks. Like easy.
Yes, because
Yeah.
5 mana, choose a creature, return all creatures that aren't of the chosen type to their owner's hands. So if you're in a blue tribal deck, you just win the game, kind of. Because,
Yeah.
like, I don't know, like, imagine this in the Ur-Dragon. Okay,
Or
I'm going to
really
bounce
set you
all
up.
creatures except for dragons.
Dragons. Fuck.
Or
Also, I don't know if we said the card name.
Raise the Palisade. It's a 4 in a blue for a sorcery. Choose a creature type. Return all creatures that aren't of the chosen type to their owner's hands. Oh, this is probably in the elf deck because it's got Galadriel in the art. That's my guess.
Oh,
But it
is that-
seems,
is that
I believe so.
Simic deck?
Yes, it's Simic Elves, and it's like also like voting,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
weird.
I'll say, yeah, I want to talk more about that a little later on too. Yeah, but this card's really sick. 5 mana to bounce everything that's not yours, not your elves, not your elementals, not your Halfling,
Your
kin
merfolk,
humans. Yeah,
your
your
pirates,
merfolk, your thopters, pirates. You said pirates, right?
rogues, yeah, pirates,
Okay. Um,
soldiers. I think Azorius soldiers is a cool deck, and this
yeah.
would be so good in it because then you can just swing with all your
Birds.
soldiers.
Can
Bird
bounce
tribal.
everything but your birds. Um,
There's actually a bird tribal commander in this set. I think it's a white
oh,
one though.
okay. Well, hey, that's what Azurius is for. I almost said Azurius.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
But yeah,
quit
this
making
is just kind of a
content.
standard, solid commander card. It's if you got a blue tribal deck, this is like the best thing in it.
Yeah.
Which it's like a Whelming Wave. Like Whelming Wave is like super super good, but it's only in your Kraken, Leviathan, Serpent, Octopus deck, which is
Yeah.
a deck that exists,
Yeah.
but very niche. And this just gives you that for all blue tribal decks, which
Yeah.
is great.
It's awesome. I think it's great. This was like on my list, like top blue cards. So
Yeah,
I'm
seems
glad to
great.
see it. Then what if okay, if I go WBB, it's actually WUB. Again,
Yeah,
I'm gonna reiterate,
black.
I'm gonna stop making content. But what was your black pick?
I went with just Nazgul.
Hell yeah.
Because I think they're so cool. I love these kind of cards. So it's 2 in a black for a 1/2 with Death Touch, a Wraith Knight. And when it enters the battlefield, the ring tempts you. And then whenever the ring tempts you, put a +1 counter on each Wraith you control. A deck can have up to 9 cards named Nazgul.
Just so good. It's so good.
Yes. So it's just you have a bunch of them, and then whenever the ring tempts you, they all get bigger. And it's on each Wraith you control. So like there's like that stupid Demir Wraith that is
Yeah.
a Wraith. And so this goes in there. Yeah, the Lord of the Nazgul, which we should talk about that card. That card's fucking crazy.
We could talk about
But
it in tandem with this because they kind of go together, but
yeah, because I feel like this supports that deck. But I just love like this kind of thing, like a persistent petitioners or like the 7 dwarves. You can have up to 9 named Nazgul,
yeah.
and they all have different art. There's like 9 different arts.
Yeah,
'cause
that
there's the
part
9
is
Nazgul.
so awesome. And all the art is really good.
Yeah, they're all amazing. And so they're not like super good, but they're awesome. So
And if you had 4 of them and they're all getting counters, you know what I mean? Like it's going to be
Yeah.
formidable, especially with Death Touch.
yeah,
Yeah, I think I think this card design is really fun. I'm glad that they let people build with 9 of them.
I want more. I want a white one. There's no white. You can have as many of these in your deck as you want.
Oh, that's fair. That'd be
But
fun. I wonder what
and
that
then
would be.
this dumb card, the Lord of the Nazgul, is
Yeah.
so crazy. I think this is gonna be the saltiest commander of this set. It's 3 in a blue and a black for a legendary Wraith Noble. It's like the Lord of the Nazgul from like the Return of the King.
Yeah.
And then race flying for a 4/3, and then race you control protection from ring bearers. And then whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you create a 3/3 black wraith creature token with menace. And then if you control 9 or more race, they have base power and toughness 9/9. So it's like Talran but better because you're making 3/3s. They don't with menace, so they have evasion. And then if you just have 9 of them, they're 9/9s. Which is crazy.
yeah.
So you just you cast this, you hold up like some free counterspell to protect it, and then you just sorry,
No, you're good.
I'm dying. So it's a 9/9 with. So you have 9/9/9s.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. And one of them is flying because it is a wraith. So it's a flying 9/9. And then you have 8 other ones on the ground with menace. And then so you just sit there and you counter spells and you remove permanents and you like kill creatures, and then you have counter spells to stop board wipes. So you just keep going and going and going, and just blowing everyone else's stuff, stopping everyone else from winning the game, and then you just kill everyone one by one because you have 9/9/9s with menace.
Yeah, if not more, because I mean you're gonna keep making them.
Yeah, and so
as you
there's
remove
other
stuff.
wraiths you can play too.
That's the other thing. If you play the other 9 wraiths, and then every time one of those enter, you get tempted, and you put a 1/1. You put a 1/1 counter on all your wraiths, right? So they go 9/9, 10/10, 11. You know what I mean? Like it would also just keep getting worse. I think it's fun. I don't think it's nearly as bad as like Toxtril or anything because it doesn't have that thing
I think it's
stapled
like
onto the end step where it's like inflicting that. You still have to build and play your deck. Like Toxtril is just like, well, I'm gonna sit here and just ruin your day until it's either done or I'm dead. But this thing comes down, you still have to like protect it. You have to play well, you know what I mean? It's not all stapled into one thing, but I do think it's going to be brutal, especially if people like if you choose to build this super salty and you're just putting in a bunch of kill spells and a bunch of like free counters and shit. Oh yeah. This is going to be brutal.
I think
yeah.
that's just how you build it. I mean, that's the instants and sorceries that are in blue and black are like kill spells and like counter spells or like draw spells. So you just draw a bunch of cards, you make 9/9.
The other thing,
like,
you could just cantrip really fast, you know, and
Yeah.
make that's the other thing. You wouldn't have to
Opt,
necessarily
consider.
go removal. You could just go cantrip heavy and make so many that like they'd have to wipe the board. You play it again, you play 5 more you know what I mean? Like you just speed through your whole deck and do some top deck manipulation stuff with blue. There's definitely some other ways you could build it, but yeah, the brutal beatdown one is all of the Nazguls, this guy, and just like kill and counter spells and board wipes and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a cool card. I think it'd be I just saw this one's not modern legal, but I think it'd be funny to build a Nazgul modern deck.
The normal Nazgul are modern legal.
Yeah. But the Lord isn't, which would be cool. That's like kind of the thing that ties it together.
Did you see the Witch King of Angmar?
I looked at a ton of cards, so
Yeah, it's
I
just like
didn't
it's the
look at this
same
one. I
dude,
didn't
just
look
with
at
the
this
Witch King, Bringer of Ruin. When it attacks, if any
Oh,
player sacrifices a player with the least power among creatures they control, and then that's a wraith, so
That's
that
a
goes in the
good-
deck. And
that's
then
good
there's
art for
oh
it.
yeah, and then there's a mythic one.
Oh,
And then whenever one or more creatures deal combat damage to you, each opponent sacrifices a creature that dealt combat damage to you. The ring tempts you, and then discard a card. It gets indestructible until in a turn, and tap it.
But
So
nice.
you can't kill it.
um, I
So
was
there's
gonna
a
say
lot of
the,
them.
the Witch King, the first one that we looked at, is cool because that has that art that goes in tandem with whatever that red card is, where she says, "I'm no man," and this one is
Yeah.
"No living
Yeah,
man may enter
Eowyn.
me." Yeah, I think the flavor on the set is fucking solid. I love
so
like
good.
that shit where it's all like kind of intertwined a little bit. Yeah, these
yeah,
cards are
so-
super fucking sick.
The Nazgul
Yeah.
is my black card. What's your black card?
Oh fuck, my black card is Gore Bag.
Oh my god! I saw this on the list. I was like, "What is going on?
Yeah.
What is a gore bag, Ryan?"
So Gorbag is an orc soldier. It's called Gorbag of Minas Morgul, I think, right? Morgul, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one and a
Minas
black.
Morgul, yeah.
For an orc soldier, he's a 2/2. They are a 2/2, and whenever a goblin or orc you control deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. And when you choose one, draw a card or create a treasure token. In just like a goblin tribal bog standard deck where you're making nothing but tokens, and now we can also like amass orcs and make like a big orc army and stuff. But just like if you're swinging a bunch of 1/1s at people, and it doesn't even really matter if they hit or how many of them hit, as long as some of them hit, you could easily draw like 2-3 cards on a turn, make 3 or 4 treasure token. Like this does so much work because it's whenever a goblin or orc you control. So you could sacrifice as many
Yeah.
of them as long as they deal combat damage. Like
Yeah.
You could draw so many cards and make so many treasures. This is a really crazy card. I think this is insane. Um, and it's really sick. It's only 2 mana. So,
Yeah, 2 mana.
yeah, it's super affordable. It's super easy to cast. And with if you build a fast slow to the ground goblin deck, this is just gonna speed it up. Because the one thing that you suffer from sometimes is card draw and mana screw at times. And this just gets rid of both of them. So, this
And,
is
yeah, Rakdos has tons of like sacrifice synergies. So like when you sacrifice that goblin, you bash in a remembrance and you deal damage, or
yeah.
you draw more cards.
And then if you've got the Mirkwood bats too that's in this set that everyone has already talked about, but every time those treasure
Yeah.
tokens enter and get sacked, you're dealing damage to opponents. Like, and then
Yeah.
if you're in red, you could also have like what's the dude that does the pinging when the artifacts enter? Reckless Fireweaver. We got there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So like you
and
know what I
Marionette
mean?
Master.
Yeah. Just there's
And
so
Black.
many things that could go so ham with this, and I think, and also his name is Gorebag. Like,
Yeah, he is cool.
yeah, this is absolutely my favorite black card. And there's some really cool black cards, but to me, this one was just like
Yeah,
perfect.
you're a goblin man.
I love goblins. It's goblin time. I walk around my house and
Oh, this is mine. Jumping in, this is mine.
Sweet.
but what's fucking next?
Going
I think we've
goblin
got
mode.
red, right?
Yes. What's your red card?
Um, uh, it's time to go goblin mode again. It's Moria
Oh, God.
Marauder.
Moria. Okay, so it's a red for a 1/1 with double strike. And whenever a goblin or orc you control deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. Seems good?
Yeah, and I just realized when this dude hits, because it's got double strike, you can exile 2 cards, so that's also pretty
Yeah.
cool. To me, this is just kind of the red version of Gorebag. Red's
Yeah.
not going to draw cards, but you're going to get cards off the top, so this is at least getting you that land if you missed it. And this is, again, low cost to the ground goblin deck. Your mana curve is probably not going to be higher than 4, aside from your board wipes and any like big bomb spells you want to put in there. So chances are you could hit a couple of times and still be able to play a lot of those cards without losing them. So yeah, I think these are really solid. The 2 red is not really an issue because I feel like most goblin
Yeah,
decks are mono red and red heavy. So
Yeah. They're they're red or Rakdos Gruul. I think that's it.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, you'd be able to cast this no problem.
Yeah, so I think it's solid. To me, it's not nearly as crazy as Gorebag, but it's good for mono red goblins. So
I think it's better because you're that's like mono red. I feel like mono red goblins needs card advantage. Like mono red has a lot of impulse draw, but getting synergistic impulse draw is like really powerful because now like you're getting impulse draw by doing your goblin thing. Like
Yeah.
you're not just like you're not playing like an outpost siege, which doesn't do anything with your goblins. This is a goblin, so this triggers Krinko and gets you card advantage, which
Yeah.
is really good for your goblin deck.
and it just does all the other things that like you might need with the goblins. Like you could put it down with Warren Master and stuff, which is another 2 red double strike
Yep.
goblin, you know. So yeah, it's definitely very, very sick. Definitely this and the Goblin Lord from Dominaria, not Dominaria
Yeah,
Master, but fucking
Rebel Mount Horde Master,
yeah, the Horde Master. I think both of these are
Runveld Horde Master.
just auto includes for Goblin decks now. They're so good.
Yep. Really good for goblin decks, which is it's niche, but it's a very popular niche. I mean, Krinko is like top 20 commanders, I think. So,
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I saw you were talking
Yeah,
about
good one.
top 200 commanders online or something, and there's only like so many monocolored ones.
Yeah, so in the top 50 on EDH Rec, there's only three. Matt Morgan of EDH Rec cast fame was tweeting about it, and he was like, "What are the three? Can you guess the top three commanders that are monocolor in the top 50?" And so it was I said Krinko, Crick, and Urza, but it was Krinko, Crick, and Giada. Giada's top 50.
Okay, nice. That's crazy. I saw someone also mention Giada, and I was like, that would be crazy because that card just came out. But
But it did. It's
that's
in it.
sick. That's awesome. But yeah, Goblin City today. But what's your red card?
Oh yeah, I got Fiery Inscription, which is super amazing. It's a 2 and a red for an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, the ring tempts you, so just some free value if you want. It's not really great in the decks it goes in, really, but it's there. It's extra text on a card, on an already super playable card. It's an enchantment, and then whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. So it is an enchantment version of Gutter Snipe, which is already a super, super good card. Like the decks that Gutter Snipe goes in, it's the best card in your deck. It's like one of the best cards. It's like one of your win cons. And this doesn't die to board wipes. Because Gutter Snipe, so in an Izzet Spellslinger deck, killing when your Gutter Snipe dies is gone. You're not getting a creature back from your graveyard in Izzet. And I mean, you're not getting this back either. But it's a lot harder to kill.
Yeah.
In a board wipe. Because just like you die...
You die.
like it just like Gutter Snipe dies to board wipes all the time, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and then this, someone has to like target removal it, you know? Which will happen. It can happen. But it's another one of these effects, which is really, really good. And yeah, that's basically it. I just like that it dodges creature board wipes, and it's the Gutter Snipe thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically it. And it's got the cool flavor text. It's the fucking text on the ring.
Yeah.
In one ring to rule them all, and in the darkness bind them.
That is so cool. I didn't realize the flavor text was that until we started looking at it. Yeah. And like having a reoccurring type finisher, having like a second Gutter Snipe is super huge because like you
Really
said,
good.
you're not going to be getting the other one back if you lose it. And like,
And there are other ones, but not that do 2 damage. There's like Electrostatic Field, which is 1 damage. There's like Firebrand Archer. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. So this is 2 damage, only on instant and sorcery spells, but that's fine. It's just another dope card and kind of a more resilient version of that effect, which is I just think it's really good.
yeah,
New staple.
There's also that Airborne Flamesmith, which is 1 in a red, and whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, it deals 1 damage to each opponent.
Nice.
So yeah, there's that. It's kind of cool that in the set in general, that Spellslinger is kind of one of those tribes that's pretty supportive, which is cool. Yeah, no, I think this is awesome. And like you were saying, enchantments are harder to remove, and you're probably gonna have to spot remove it. And then it's like, do you want to do that, or do you want to get rid of the oubliette that hit my commander, or just any other number of things that could come down, which I feel like might be worse than this. In like a threat perspective scenario, someone would look at this and then what? I'm trying to think. Oh, like, I mean, even like a doubling season, worst case scenario, but I've seen it happen. I've seen doubling season and bootlegger stash do the thing. And I sweated the whole time, Brody.
It's scary.
Yeah, it was spooky. But yeah, no, this is a really solid card. I saw this card while I was going through my cards, and I was like, this is a Tyler card. I was like, this is definitely going like right into Veyron.
It's going into Veyron.
Yeah.
It's whenever I pull one. Gween.
Do we have a favorite Gween
Is
color?
it me? Yeah, I got a Gween card.
You got a Gween card. What's your Gween card?
It's Elven Chorus. It's a crazy enchantment that says You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast creature spells from the top of your library, and then creatures you control have add 1 mana of any color.
That's fucking crazy.
So crazy card advantage in a creature deck. It's not a creature in your creature deck, which sucks, but it is still good card advantage in a creature deck, and it also is kind of ramp because as you're casting your spells from the top of your deck, those creatures then are all mana dorks now. That mana fix you. It turns all your creatures into birds of paradise, which is crazy. And it's a little steep at 4 mana, but it is really good. It's like 4 mana, do nothing. But if you have extra mana after that and you can cast something from the top, like if you can cast like something cheap from the top of your deck the same turn you play this, super good. Super good. So it's a little slow, but it's just really good. It's just one of those 4 mana enchantments that like it'll be really, really good. It's just a little slow. But if you can untap with it, you're gonna be cooking. You're gonna be doing good stuff.
Yeah. It scales decently well, though, because if you play it a little bit later in the game, there's a solid chance that you'll still have lands up and creatures untapped. Mm-hmm. So it feels better if you draw it in a late game.
Yeah.
Just because if you play it on curve, you're not really doing a whole lot with it right away. But if you drop it once you've had rocks and tokens and stuff, you could just kind of start going crazy.
Yeah. Or if you just already have some creatures out, I mean, you play it, and then if you have 3 creatures, and you play this, now you have 3 mana.
Yeah.
And you can cast something, hopefully.
That's fair.
And it's not non-token creatures, it's just creatures you control. So it could be good in like a token deck.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. If you drew it after a bunch of Scoot Swarm tokens or something, just turn them all sideways and make a bunch of mana.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's sick. It also makes sure that it lets your like Llanowar elves and other stuff make any other color if you need it. So
true. Yeah, I feel like it's better in multicolor decks, especially like a 3-color deck. This would be really nice.
Yeah, I think it's sick.
Like 9.
This is really cool.
Yeah, it could be good. Ooh, this might be good in like Rin and Ciri Unseparable.
Oh, yeah.
Because the card advantage in that deck isn't great. I mean, green has good card draw, but there's not a lot of synergistic cat and dog drawing cards. So this also lets all those cat and dog tokens you make tap for mana now, which is really good.
Yeah.
So you can tap them to activate Rin and Ciri, which would be really good.
Oh, nice.
But it says elves on it, and then you got an elven card in your cat and dog deck, and that's a little stinky.
Yeah, that's not fun.
It's still really good.
Yeah.
It's probably worth it.
You could just get an altar sleeve and just cut out elven. You could just say I cast chorus for 3 and a green.
Kitty chorus.
Yeah, I think that's sick too. I was trying to think. I think this could be cool in the incubator deck too, because I can use like those stacks pieces and the other creatures that I don't necessarily want to be swinging with right away, and tap those for mana to transform the incubate tokens.
That deck is cool. Sick. You should post that on the Twitter if you haven't, or we should make like a video about it or something, because that deck is really cool.
Thanks. Yeah, it was a ton of fun when I played it with James and Andy. It made like I never got to transform any of the incubator tokens, but I made like 8 of them.
Oh, nice.
But James and Andy were just going crazy.
Ryan built Taeum, whatever
the Luminous Engine.
Yeah, which actually is a really good card. It just won. There were 2 Taeum decks in top 8. In the final pod for Mox Masters this month.
That's crazy.
Yeah, 2 Taeum decks and one won.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so this deck is just crazy. It's a really cool card.
Yeah.
And then with the incubate tokens, it's crazy because you remove the counters from them to get shit back.
Yeah, or you just use the vigilance counters from when stuff comes in, and a lot of stuff that makes incubate tokens, like you were helping me build it and stuff, is under 3 mana. So you just take off like 3 vigilance counters and mill a bunch of stuff, and then incubate, or you play a card that lets you incubate twice and stuff like that. So it's fun. It's super fun. It's one of the first times I went more casual on building a deck, instead of trying
Yeah.
to tune it up right away. And it's been a ton of fun to play. So I think I
Sweet.
put the deck list online if people want to see it. I can tweet the link again when this comes out.
Or give me the list. I'll throw it in our Mox field. We should start doing that more.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have a Mox field.
I'll send
We
you
just
all of
never
my
use it.
lists.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So might have to play it on a stream or something sometime. But yeah, the Elven Course card is cool.
What's your green card?
Mine is gonna be where'd he go? Feasting Hobbit.
Oh yeah.
This card
dude
is
fucks.
this card is absurd.
There he is.
Yeah.
Let's get the full art of him. Oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah, the art is awesome. And then he's 1 in a green, 2/2, devour food 3, and creatures with less power than feasting hobbits power can't block it. And devour food 3 is as this enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice any number of foods. This creature enters the battlefield with 3 times that many 1/1 counters on it. What?
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
It's insane. And it
This
makes it almost unblockable.
Yeah, oh, it basically is unblockable. I mean, you sacrifice 2 foods and it's an 8/8.
Yeah. Sacrifice 3 foods and it's an 11/11.
11/11 unblockable. And like this, the commander deck really added what I was hoping. Because in the main set, they didn't really do anything where it's like just win cons for the food deck. It
Yes.
was like, because I was looking into making Samewise Gamgee before, which we'll talk about later. But before the set came out, was fully spoiled. And I was like, this deck is cool, but there's nothing to do with the food besides like normal artifact combos. And like, I don't want to do artifact combos in my Sam deck. That's not, I wanted some flavor there, literally. And we got it.
Yeah.
With Feasting Hobbit is a great one. It's like the great win con for your food deck. And then there's also another one.
What's the name of it?
I forget. It's in
Oh,
that
fuck.
deck. I'm looking it up.
Yeah, I saw the art for Feasting Hobbit and I was like, this card seems crazy. And then I read what Devour Food 3 did and I was like, that's
Yeah.
yeah,
That's a mechanic from Jund, I think, from Shards of Alara. I think it's an old mechanic, and it's Devour Food, which like duh. What else would you do? With the
which
food?
is so good.
Yeah. Okay. It's a Selesnya card. Oh yeah. Okay. Banquet Guess.
Oh, yes.
I can't spell banquet.
I think it's QU.
There we go. Banquet Guess. It's an X green white affinity for food. So it costs 1 less to cast for each food you control. Trample. Enters the battlefield with twice X counters on it. Sacrifice if food. It gains indestructible until end of turn. What?
That's so
you
crazy.
just play the game. You make a bunch. You're just playing your deck. Like if you're playing the Sam deck, you just make a bunch of food, and then this enters. You just pay 2 mana, so it enters. So it's a 2 mana 10/10 with trample, because it has a. So for each food you have, it pays for one of the X cost,
Yeah. Which is so cracked. It's
and
crazy.
it's with twice X. So if you just have like 10 food, that's a 20/20 trampler.
Yeah.
That's indestructible. 'Cause
Yeah.
you just sacrifice your food, so they can't get rid of it. Crazy.
Yeah. It is. That card is awesome too.
Yeah, so lots of hobbits getting fat. which
Lots
is
of
what-
hobbits
what,
munching
what we
food.
wanted. That's what we wanted and what we needed.
Yeah.
What we deserve.
Yeah. This is gonna make the slog of life worth it.
Yeah. Good choice. I like that. I like that a lot.
Oh, thank you,
Good guy.
Sid. And then what else? What we got? I think we got commanders next. Now I'm hitting dice with my mouse.
Yeah, favorite commander. Well, I've talked about him a little bit already, but my favorite commander of the set is Samwise Gamgee. He's a green and a white for a 2/2 legendary halfling peasant. And the art is super. I just love that art. Sam is my favorite Lord of the Rings character. And and I just saw that art, and I just became enamored with it because it just shows his character so well, where he's just the sweet guy, and he's like the hero of Lord of the Rings. Like, he literally carries the entirety of Middle Earth on his back as he carries Frodo up that fucking mountain.
Yeah.
Like, the world would not be saved without Sam, and he's just the best. And then, so he says, whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, create a food token. So just play a bunch of creatures, play a bunch of hobbits, and you make food for all of them because he likes to cook. And then sacrifice 3 foods, return target historic card from your graveyard to your hand. So this is interesting because historic cards are artifacts, legendaries, and sagas. So I think there is a way to go infinite with this if you have like a mirror retriever and like a scrap trawler, which it's similar to Teshar. Teshar is a 4 mana 2/2 flying. It's a mono white commander. It's actually, there's a CDH deck for it. It's fallen out of favor, but it's still powerful. Whenever you cast historic spell, return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So you just kind of like loop historic spells. And so it's similar to that. So you can do similar kind of like artifact loops. Which, if you want to go powerful, that I feel like that's pretty powerful. Like, artifacts shit gets crazy. So you could do that. But that's not what I want. I wanted to do something with the food and just with more of the Hobbit flavor. So I'm working on it. The food precon has a bunch of stuff like the halfling, the feasting halfling, the banquet gust. So I'm definitely just gonna go like get Rosie in there.
Nice, yeah.
And just make it more of just about food, and then just sacrifice 3 foods, return target historic card. It's just for value. You can get any of your legendary hobbits, you get them back if they're ever killed. So if the Gaffer's ever killed, I can get them back. Or sagas are great. There's some really good sagas in this set. The white ones are fucking crazy. Again, there's 2 really good white sagas in this set.
Nice.
So they can go in the deck and fit the flavor. So yeah, you can kind of build this in like a couple different ways. Shire tribal, historic tribal, food. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Seems
cool.
Fun. It's wide open. Yeah, you can do a ton with it. It's not the most powerful in the set, but it's my favorite because Sam is my favorite dude.
Yeah, Sam's awesome. Yeah, I think it's sick. It's very cool. I'd like to see your list and stuff because like,
and he's 2 mana.
Yeah, 2 mana. 2 mana is great. Sithis is 2 mana. So
Sithis is 2 mana and she sucks. Pia Nalar is 2 mana and she's crazy. I got to play her and I got Pia out, and then the next turn I had like 2 Thopters and they were like, oh, and that just I had like 15 Thopters, I think.
Yeah, you're just making more and more of them every turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That deck is insane. Super underrated deck. And same with Samwise. Also, Gandalf goes in this deck.
Yeah,
because it's white.
That would be crazy.
The White Rider.
Yeah.
You're just casting your spells. All your hobbits get +1/+0.
And you scry.
Sick. And you scry. But you can't get him back because he always goes into your deck. So you can't get him back from the graveyard.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Which that's fine.
Worth it.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite commander of the set, Ryan?
I actually picked Arrestor of the Council. Restore of the Council, which I think is the Simic face commander maybe for that pre-con deck.
I think he's a backup. I think Galadriel is the...
What was this? Yeah.
Yeah, she's just a backup one, but she's cool.
Nice. Yeah. I like the idea of getting stuff for voting. So this is Arrestor.
Do you want to read the card?
Yeah. Arrestor of the Council, 1 in Simic. It's an elf noble 2/4, and whenever players finish voting, each player who voted for a choice you voted for creates a treasure token. you scry X, where X is the number of opponents who voted for a choice you didn't vote for. Draw a card. Um, which I think is kind of fun because then this leans into like as you were playing a lot of the voting cards, I was going through a lot of the cards that are in this deck and just like the Council's Dilemma and stuff, cards like that. They all start with you. So if you have this as your commander, you could incentivize people to vote for whatever you want because you get to vote first because they would get a treasure token. Otherwise, you're still getting some really solid card draw because if everyone votes against you, you get to scry 3 times and then draw a card, which is still really, really solid. So either way, this is, I think it's like obviously it's Simic Value Town, but it's kind of fun because it's a little political. It gives people who vote with you a treasure token, and you're kind of like spreading it around a little bit. But at the same time, if you're still playing a bunch of voting cards and people aren't siding with you, you're still getting a solid amount of advantage. I think voting's fun because it's like it can only happen in Commander. So might have to try and give this deck a build and see how it runs. So
Yeah, it's cool. A voting commander is like an interesting idea, and they did that in New Capenna. Tivit is like a voting commander, and then while
yes.
voting, you may vote an additional time, but they made it busted because all it does is just go infinite with Time Sieve. Because it's just like you play it and then you do 2 different Time Sieve, and then because each turn you make like a million fucking tokens. You just make so many treasures.
Oh yeah, because either way
'Cause-
you're just making treasures.
Yeah. Yeah, or no matter what you're making.
Or you're making artifacts.
Yeah, you either make a clue or you make a treasure. Like every turn you make 3.
Yeah.
And then you have Academy Manufacturer, and then you make more.
Yeah. Well, if you have 4
and then,
people and you vote an additional time, that gives you all the artifacts you need for Time Civ right out the gate
Yeah.
without
And so that's
anything
just
else.
like
So
yeah, and it's just kind of boring. Like it's sweet for CDH. CDH is a really really cool deck, but it's just not a voting deck.
yeah,
It's a artifact combo, Esper artifact combo deck, which is not. So it's cool that we have more of a like, okay, no stupid shit. We're just voting.
yeah, you don't even make anything from this. The only people who make stuff is people who vote with you. Other than that, it's just card selection and card draw. So, yeah, and I think it's cool. And then a lot of the cards that were in that pre-con seemed really fun. So I might just do like maybe we could do like a budget upgrade. I'll get that and we can add like 10 cards or something to it.
Yeah. And I'm getting the Hobbit one for sure.
Oh, hell
And I'm turning it into a Sam deck because it's an Abzan deck, and I don't really care about any of the black cards that are in it. So
Yeah, the black ones were all kind of mid to me. I wasn't super
yeah,
stoked
it's like a
on 'em.
black Hobbit, which feels weird,
Yeah, it does. It's not super on brand.
but it makes sense for that one. I think it's like Belligerent Guest or something.
There's a couple of legendary ones too, and I just don't know all the lore, so that might be why it kind of falls weird. But
Rapacious Guest. So it's just a guest at a party being an asshole, which
Yeah.
is definitely a black card.
yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
do we want to do like a wild card, like another card, and then
Yeah, just
end it
kind of
on
like just
that?
another card you want to talk about. What's your wild card?
Yeah, my wild card was Display of Power, which I just was reading it, and again, it's kind of like Born Upon a Wind. It's like not the most insane thing, but what the fuck you could do with it is like what the fuck. It's 1 and 2 red instant. This spell can't be copied. Copy any number of target instant and or sorcery spells. You may choose new targets for the copies. So in this case, if you played Born Upon a Wind and then you could play sorceries at instant speed, you could just make like a huge stack and then cast this and copy everything that's on it. Which is obviously like kind of the dream goal, like Mizzix Mastery type deal. But even just for 1 and 2 red, I think being able to copy like maybe 2 spells would be really cool, even if you held it up and used it on somebody else's turn, or if you just used it to get some extra value off of stuff that you were doing. But I think it's cool that you can copy the entire stack if you wanted to. So yeah, I thought this
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
card is fun. Yeah, all I thought it was is just
It
fun.
also hoses Flusterstorm,
Yes.
because Flusterstorm makes a bunch of copies, and so typically Flusterstorm is like kind of the end of like in CDH, it's like the end of a spell war. So it's like you got all these different like counter spells on the stack, and then you do Flusterstorm, and then it's like 5 copies of Flusterstorm, and everyone's tapped out. It's like, okay, well, I can't pay 5. But then this says this spell can't be copied, and then you copy all the copies of Flusterstorm.
Yeah. And you have each one of those like
Which
target
is-
each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which it's 3 mana, so it's probably not CDH playable, but maybe in a mono red CDH deck, I think it could have some gas. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, if you're slinging a bunch of free counter spells and you have mana up, anything's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I just
think
think it's fun, especially if you
could
played it
be
with
good.
Born with the Wind and did some weird shenanigan stuff and like copied a bunch of sorceries. I think that would be the fun side of it. So but did you have a wild card? What were you thinking?
Yes, I have another white card. It's Sheriff.
Shire Sheriff? Sheriff.
So it's a 1 and a white for a 2/2 with vigilance, which is solid. And then when it enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a token. When you do, exile target creature an opponent controls until it leaves the battlefield.
Yeah.
Which seems really good to me, because I feel like this is really good commander removal, because most people aren't going to just let their commander sit under this. Especially ones that aren't like white or black, that don't have like targeted creature removal.
Yeah.
So it's just like 2 mana, kill a commander on a creature. And you just gotta have synergy with tokens, which is like every deck now. Treasure, food, clues, creature tokens. Like in Oketra, this makes a zombie on cast, and then I play it, I exile someone's commander, and I sacrifice the zombie that casting this made.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
And so it's just 2 mana, exile a commander on a creature. And like, do you agree? Do you think like, if someone casts this, would you let your commander sit under that?
Like, would I let it sit or bounce it back to the zone?
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like you don't leave it. You never let your commander go into exile in case shenanigans happen. Like they're gonna just go back to the command zone.
Yeah, it would totally just depend on what I had in my hand. If I was playing like red or something and I had a shock and I could also just kill it at the end step and know I could get it back, I might try and do that. But I mean, like, yeah, if I'm in something and I don't have a whole bunch of shit in my hand, I'd probably put it back in my zone because I'd want to cast it
Yeah.
again on my turn. So
Yeah. And like, if like someone, like, because you're not gonna, I feel like you wouldn't want to waste like a swords on this, like a swords of plowshares.
no.
Like, and it's like, or even like an infernal grasp or like deadly relic, like the actual like just target creature removal spells. You don't want to waste that on a 2/2
Yeah,
on like this dinky little thing, because that's just a waste of a card.
yeah. This would just be
know.
if I had
feel
like
like-
some removal that was equivalent to it. You know what I mean? If I have a
Yeah.
what's a giant that's got stomp on it?
Oh, Bone Crusher.
Yeah,
Giant?
Bone Crusher. I was thinking Wood Crush for some reason. You are playing Bone Crusher Giant, just use the stomp on this. You know what I mean? Like, there are situations where it would be it would be the sensible thing to remove, but in terms of like commander, like I'm not gonna beast within this.
Yeah,
Like I'm not
that's just a
gonna
waste. I'd rather
Pongify it.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's other things I'm worried
Yeah.
about. But if I could shock
There's
it
more
or bolt it
important-
or something, and just get it out of the way and make you waste a token and it and get my commander right back, I would try and do that.
Yeah.
But the chances of that aren't super
But-
high. So
You're still down a card. You're still like I still force you to use a card and mana to stop this dinky little dude, and you just gotta have synergy, which is casting a creature that so you can Skull Clamp this, or you can sacrifice it in response and draw a card in like an aristocrat's deck, or sacrificing the token when you sacrifice it and enter the battlefield, you can get the value from sacrificing that token. You know, so you
Yeah.
just gotta have some sort of token synergy, which is like 50% of decks. You know, I feel like they all care about sacrificing tokens, or
you're gonna make
Mirkwood
some
bats.
kind of
You got
token
Mirkwood backup.
incidentally.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it also just depends because, like, if my commander has an ETB effect and I know I can get rid of it real fast like that, or make you sack it, I'll just do that because that's going to be a cheaper thing of what I already wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I do think it's super dependent, but for the most part, I mean, anything that's going to like tuck a commander, most people are going to try and put it back in the zone. This is a
Yeah, like,
body,
they're
so
not
it's a
gonna let
little easier to fuck with. It's not like banishing light, or turn to gold or something like that. But I still think it's solid. And I love the art. I like him standing on the the tree trunk, writing on his notepad. The orc is all tied up and stuff.
I do like that because in the books there is a whole thing where they go back to the Shire, and like Saruman had like attacked the Shire and like took it over. And then the hobbits had an uprising, and they had to like they had to free the Shire when they got back from like destroying the ring.
Yeah.
And they just didn't do any of that in the movie, which just makes sense. But it's in this, and so that's what this is. It's like this he's like fighting an orc, or he's finding an orc or whatever.
Yeah. Because there's also that card. I was curious because there's that card that's like subjugate the hobbits. Which is gain control of all
that's
creatures
what
that are
is,
3
yeah.
mana value or less. Yeah. And there's a bunch of
That
stuff
card
that's
seems
like,
really good too.
It does.
That card
It's
seems
just
really
like
good.
6 mana, I think, which is a little like it's still solid, but at that point it's like I don't know, especially in Commander, if I'd want to like wait for that. How much stuff on the board am I going to get with that? Unless it's a bunch of, I could get all the tokens,
I feel like you'll get a lot.
Yeah.
There's like some 3 mana commanders. There's any tokens, little dinky
Little
value
dinky
creatures.
dudes.
I feel like you would get a lot.
Yeah.
And then if you have a sack outlet, then you just grab them, and then you just
Toss them in the oven.
yeah.
Or toss
well, you
them on
can
the
control
altar.
them forever, so you don't really need to sacrifice them. You just get them.
Oh,
forever. It's
okay.
like I own all these now,
It's like a
right?
thief effect, yeah.
Yeah, you just get all them.
Subjugate the hobbits.
Dude, I don't know how to spell.
That's okay. I never
It's
learned
embarrassing.
either.
This is on video. Gain control of each non-commander creature of mana value 3 or less. So it's 7 mana, but like a gain control of a creature effect is like 4 mana. So this
Yeah.
is an extra 3 mana to get a lot of creatures. So that seems fair. It's still expensive, but it's good. I feel like it's good in like a instant or sorcery deck, or like Sapphire. Like this would be is like a
Yeah.
perfect Sapphire card because it's 7 mana, so you also scry 1 and you make a 4/4 out of it, and then you just grab a bunch of shit.
Yeah, which would be sick.
Yeah. So it's not great, but it's cool.
Oh, yeah, no, it's definitely cool. And I think it's cool that that part of the story is in it because I hadn't really seen that either. So, yeah, I think this set is super cool. If you're not really super into draft or anything like that, I would highly recommend maybe at least trying it for this set because I think this is where it's really, really going to shine. Like, I would really like to get a set and sit down one night with all the homies and draft this out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want to get a draft box for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, really excited about it. I think this is a great set. There's a lot of really cool cards. There's a lot of stuff that we didn't mention.
Yeah, we can't talk about every dope card in this set.
Yeah, there's every card is really good in some way. So if there's
Sorry,
anything that
wait, there is one.
huh?
There's one card we got to talk about.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes. Nope. I'm so sorry. I totally forgot. Do you want to talk about this one, Tyler?
Yeah, it's a Bill the Pony. He's just a
Bill the
little
Pony,
guy.
folks.
He's just a little. He's just a little guy. If you haven't seen the art for Bill the Pony, look that shit up. It'll change your
It's
life.
actually
It's-
adorable.
Yeah, it's the cute. Like my jaw dropped. I was like hiding in the bathroom at work as you do, when you're in a retail job.
Yeah.
and like I was like crying over this little dude.
He's
and
just
it's
so cute.
this artist's first Magic card, so she nailed it. Christina Kraus, good job. You made the cutest goddamn pony in the world.
Yeah, the cutest horse to ever exist in Magic the Gathering.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
Lots of cool cards, lots of good commanders. I think it's a great set. You're lots of stuff we couldn't talk about. 'Cause
Yeah.
most of it's great.
yeah. If there's anything
So
you
lots of cool decks are gonna come. Lots of cool decks are gonna come out of this set. Lots of cool cards are coming out of the set. Yeah. What are you saying, Ryan?
I was gonna say, yeah, if there's anything that we missed, anything that you think we bamboozled, we picked the wrong red card or something like that, let us know. Maybe we'll put a poll out and let you guys vote on Spotify and wherever your apps are, what cards you guys like from the set as well. And then also, if for whatever reason, because we had someone reach out and say that it wasn't available on their app podcast listening of choice. If that's the same thing for you, just reach out to us on Twitter and we'll make sure it gets added. It's hard to keep track of every little source that pops up, but if you just DM us and mention it to us, we'll totally get it added on there for you. We want it to be accessible to everybody. So yeah, if you have anything else, you want to play some games, you got brews for decks that you want to send us, hit us up on our Twitter. And I think we'll see him next time in Paradise, right, Tyler?
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.